What does it really mean to be middle class today? Is it an income range, a number on a payslip, or a bracket in a report? Depending on the country, the city, the year, the answer changes. In one place, it's a few thousand a month. In another, it's several times that. But here's the strange part. People earning very different numbers often feel the same kind of pressure. Not rich, not poor, just stuck. The middle class isn't just about income. It's about how life feels. We earn enough to pay the monthly bills. Rent, AMS, utilities. By the time the month begins, most of the money already knows where it's going. We save regularly. At least, we try to. But the number never feels like enough. Most days, we feel safe. Until something interrupts the plan. A car that suddenly needs repairs, a medical test we didn't expect, a school expense that shows up without warning. We can manage today. Tomorrow already has commitments. Long-term freedom, though? That always feels unclear. We tell ourselves we're okay, while quietly asking, what if something goes wrong? That space in the middle is where the trap slowly forms. The middle-class trap isn't poverty, it's dependence. Dependence on a salary arriving on time, a job that has to keep going, systems that can't afford to fail. At first, nothing feels wrong. Life feels stable, but slowly, our lifestyle starts to need regular income, fixed routines, no long breaks. We can't stop working. We can't change course. We can't risk much. We're not sinking, but we're not free either. We're just staying afloat. And if staying afloat takes this much effort, what happens when the water rises? So, how does this trap actually form? Not all at once, but through a few everyday patterns we rarely question. The mortgage and loan loop. Let's start with the most common anchor. Loans. A home loan, a car loan, an education loan. These don't feel like mistakes. They feel like steps forward. We're told it's normal. Buy now. Pay later. This is good debt. Everyone does it. And most of the time, it actually makes sense. The problem doesn't show up immediately. It shows up slowly, quietly. Month by month, your future income gets decided in advance. You have less room to move, fewer options, less tolerance for risk. And at some point, the question changes. You don't ask, can I afford this if life changes? You ask, can I manage the EMI? That shift feels small, but it changes everything. Credit card lifestyle. Credit cards don't feel like debt. They feel easy. You swipe. The payment goes through. Nothing seems to leave your account right away. Over time, that changes how we spend. Small costs stop feeling like real money. Monthly subscriptions we forgot about. Eating out a little more often. Small purchases we justify by saying it's not that much. Slowly, spending becomes normal. Not because income increased, but because friction disappeared. We're not spending wildly. We're spending slightly ahead of what we earn. And sooner or later, the balance catches up. It always does. Approval, comparison, and social pressure. The middle-class trap isn't just financial. It's emotional. We compare homes, vacations, schools, gadgets, milestones. A colleague moves into a bigger apartment, and suddenly your place feels smaller than it did last year. A friend posts holiday photos, and you start wondering whether you should plan one too. Phones get upgraded because everyone else already has one. We don't want to look like we're falling behind. So we spend, not to enjoy, but to belong. Approval becomes expensive. And comparison never ends. There's always someone a little ahead. Why I'm doing fine can be misleading. Many of us believe that we are financially secure, but we forget dependents, aging parents, children, health risks, career uncertainty. We look at the income number, but we don't always factor in the responsibilities attached to it. Two people can earn the same income. On paper, their situation looks similar, but in real life, it can be very different. For one person, that income mainly covers personal costs, housing, food, transport, everyday needs. The other earns the same amount, but that income now has to support a family. School-related costs for two children, childcare, or after-school activities, higher food and housing expenses, healthcare needs, and savings for future education and emergencies. The income number is the same. What that income has to cover is not. Real financial security isn't about how much we earn. It's about how much is left when life happens. Banks, dreams, and easy money. Banks don't sell debt. They sell dreams. Pre-approved, limited time offer. You deserve this lifestyle. Nothing about it feels risky. Borrowing is presented as normal, even responsible. Over time, this way of borrowing starts to feel routine. Almost expected. And most of us never pause to ask a simple question. Who benefits if I keep paying every month without ever having room to stop? Branding, identity, and retail therapy. Brands don't just sell products. They sell how owning something makes us feel. Most phones do the same basic things. But for many people, an iPhone feels like more than a phone. It becomes part of how we see ourselves and how we want to be seen. Research has consistently shown that what we wear affects how others see us, especially when the brand is recognizable. Luxury is a signal of arrival for the middle class. For them, luxury often represents, I've made it, I'm moving up, I belong here now. Luxury items become proof of progress, not just enjoyment. And once buying starts to reflect who we think we are, it also starts to affect how we feel. After a stressful day, adding something to an online cart and checking out in one click gives a quick sense of relief. That's dopamine at work, the brain's reward signal. For a moment, stress drops and things feel under control. But the feeling fades. What stays behind is more stuff at home, things we didn't really need, and the habit of reaching for another purchase the next time stress shows up. Financial illiteracy and bad investments. Most people were never taught money or investing, so when it comes to investing, they lean on what feels familiar. An agent who sounds confident, a friend who did the same thing, a product described as safe. Sometimes that means buying a house because everyone says real estate never fails, even when the loan stretches the budget for decades, or signing up for an investment insurance plan that promises protection and returns without fully understanding the fees or the lock-in period. The decision often feels responsible at the time, but later the problems show up. Money gets stuck. Flexibility disappears. Better opportunities pass by. The loss isn't always visible as money gone. It shows up as years spent waiting, unable to move, change, or choose differently. The middle-class trap isn't evil, but it is sticky. And getting out of it doesn't mean quitting your job or giving up comfort. It starts with awareness, with pausing for a moment and asking yourself a few honest questions. What do I truly need? What am I trading my future for? Who benefits from the choices I keep making? This isn't about being rich. It's about having enough freedom to choose. And that freedom begins the moment you stop running on autopilot and start paying attention.